Target Iran. A surprise test of U.S. secret nuclear weapon took place in Nevada, and the Russians said the U.S. tested something that we don't know of. So what is going on? We don't know exactly what the Americans fired, said the Russians. The U.S. conducted a surprise test of a secret nuclear weapon in Nevada. The information coming from the U.S. and also from Russia speaks of a test of a weapon of mass destruction. It's given that the U.S. tried something new and secret, quote unquote. The Russians do not yet have concrete information. That's why they are asking for an international investigation of what took place there. It's very possible the U.S. tested a weapon specially designed for Iran or to strike or to prevent Tehran from using nukes if we accept the official interpretation given by the Americans. If the latter happens, then Israel and the U.S. believe that Iran is speeding up developments in its nuclear program because of the broader situation in the Middle East. For now, Russia and other countries are just making assumptions about whether the Americans could have tried. According to Russian media, the United States conducted a test of weapons of mass destruction October 18, which was accompanied by an underground chemical explosion at Tunnel P at Site 12 of the Nevada test range. At the same time, the American side said that the purpose of the test was to improve the capabilities of the U.S. to detect low-power nuclear explosions on various regions of the world. Bloomberg reported that the test used radioisotopes and chemicals to validate new eruption prediction models. The test comes after Putin was seen in Beijing alongside his officers allegedly carrying his nuclear briefcase, quote unquote, which is rarely filmed. Nevada has been used for nuclear testing for decades, specifically the Nevada National Security Site established back in 1951. What are the American media saying? Well, according to Bloomberg, the U.S. conducted a powerful test at a nuclear test site in Nevada just hours after Russia lifted its ban on nuclear weapons tests, sparking concerns of new arms race between the world's top nuclear powers. The Energy Department, which oversees the U.S. stockpile of more than 5,000 nuclear weapons, said Wednesday's test in southern Nevada used chemicals and radioisotopes to, quote, validate new detonation prediction models, end quote, that can help detect atomic explosions in other countries. While the test is legal, the timing was notable. It came shortly after Russia announced it would no longer abide by the Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty, which bans nuclear explosions, and coincided with developments in the Middle East. U.S. officials say more transparency is needed because while countries do not test nuclear warheads, they conduct so-called experiments that verify weapons designed without the amount of atomic material needed to set off a chain reaction. These smaller explosions can still be detected by sensitive seismic stations and raise suspicions among adversaries. Analysts worry that actions like this week's test by the National Security Administration, the Nuclear Security Administration, could be misinterpreted and lead to further escalation, especially given the deep hostilities between the U.S. and Russia that has been exacerbated by the war in Ukraine. In next few days, the Kremlin says that the Americans are conducting tests and we have no way of verifying that these tests are not nuclear, said Pavel Podvig, who monitors Russian nuclear forces for the United Nations Institute for Disarmament Research in Geneva. That would be another step, he said. We don't know exactly what the Americans fired, said the Russians. The deputy speaker of the Russian Parliament Upper House, Konstantin Kosachev, said on Friday there should be an international legal assessment of whether this week's explosion in Nevada crossed the limits of nuclear testing. We don't know exactly what the Americans blew up underground, he said. The option would be to allow independent monitors to collect data from facilities where and when secondary nuclear tests are conducted, they said. Inspectors from the Vienna-based Test Ban Treaty Organization would be a natural choice, but they currently face many constraints. Russian nuclear expert Alexei Anpilogov explained why he believes the United States carried out an underground chemical explosion at a test site in Nevada. He said such tests are not actually capable of producing high-quality results for the improvement of nuclear weapons. Probably, he said, Washington's main goal was to test a seismic network capable of detecting explosions from other countries, the expert emphasized. According to Anne P. Logov, U.S. sanctions should not go unanswered. The actions should not go unanswered, and by canceling its ratification of the CTBT, Russia has already taken steps in that direction. Well, what is Russia complaining about since they decided to get out of the treaty? Now, Russia says law revoking ratification of nuclear test ban treaty passed earlier. The State Duma, the lower house of Russia, completed the second and third readings of a bill revoking Russia ratification of the test ban treaty, CTBT. The lower house unanimously approved both readings with 415 votes in favor and 0 against. So what are they complaining about? If they decided to stop and get out of the test ban treaty, what do they expect? That means that other countries can do what they want. Now, Putin had urged the State Duma October 5th to make the change to reflect the position of the United States, which signed but never ratified the 1996 treaty. We understand our responsibility before our citizens. We protect our country. What is happening in the world today is the sole fault of the United States, said a State Duma speaker. Experts point out that the nuclear tests, whether by Russia or United States, could prompt others to do the same, and China and India and Pakistan sparking a new arms race, and all currently observe a moratorium on nuclear tests, and only North Korea has conducted a nuclear test this century. Russia originally ratified CTBT treaty in 2000. Although it is withdrawing that step, it has so far said it will remain a signatory to the treaty and continue to provide data to the global monitoring system that alerts the world to every nuclear test. But when the bill was tabled on Tuesday, Parliament Speaker Volodin left open the possibility that Moscow will pull out entirely and said he would leave Washington guessing about its intentions. I guess they're playing a game of cat and mouse here, right? Or chicken. Now, and what we're going to do next, he said, whether we stay part of the treaty or not, we're not going to tell them. We must think about global security, the security of our citizens, and their interests, he said. CNN published satellite photos last month showing that Russia, the United States, and China have built new facilities at their nuclear test sites in recent years. And this is by War News 24/7. I've translated this from a Greek article. And there are, of course, on Twitter, on X, Ninja Monkey said the U.S. undertook what is called a high explosive experiment at a nuclear test site in Nevada just hours after Russia voted to resume nuclear testing. Make no mistake, this was very likely a low-yield tactical nuclear underground test that will go unreported for the most part. And please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.